football now, but the Bulldogs, they've an extra incentive for them, I'm sure, Tim, because no one really wants to come over here and play an elimination final if the Eagles happen to get up into those top spots. Well, the first bounce, the umpire's found a free kick, and it's going to the Bulldogs. Taken away by Johnson to West, two of their key midfielders, Montgomery into the forward pocket, and a good mark out in front taken by Darcy in front of Jason Ball. So already Jason Ball, who we would have thought may have started on the ball or maybe up forward, looks as though he's manning up on Luke Darcy. Now the umpire at the scene of the Luke Darcy mark has been overwritten here, and a free kick has been paid against Martin at centre-half back for the Bulldogs.
Went to Worsfold too, which was pretty interesting, and got a great cheer, Robbo. Gardner's taken the mark, so the Bulldogs were going to have a shot for goal, and now West Coast have got it at half-back.
Michael Gardner, one of the exciting young players in the AFL. He's kicked towards half-forward, not quite to that area, just past the wing. Punched over for a boundary throw-in. So that's Sir.
And Jakovic is lined up in the forward line, and he's been picked up there by Cox. Unusual move there. Danny Southern's picked up the very dangerous Fraser Gehrig at that centre-half forward.
Matera starting the full forward too, Tim. Peter Matera for West Coast.
No one on the mark, and the free kick may have been given against Ramiro to young Philip Reid. Punched away by Southern, playing across that half-back line. Maybe picking up at this stage Fraser Gehrig, so some interesting matchups. Cameron on Kemp. McKenna, well, there's 4 on 1 down here in front of us on centre wing. Colin on his own, but he's got 4 opponents. Cousins can't get clear. Scotty Wine, Banfield, still Scotty Wine. In trouble there, Wirra gets it away to West. West takes a punt, but the kick's all right. Mark taken by Ramiro, handball away. This is Cox. Cox across the half-back line. The mark taken by Montgomery. Plays on quickly. Rowan Smith. Running in support is Cameron. Cameron down the ground. A bit of a worm burner to Grant. Good hand pass, Colin. Gives it back again. Through comes Croft. Go for goal, Matthew. He does with a lovely long kick. And the Bulldogs have got the first goal of the evening. Lovely bit of football by the Western Bulldogs around the middle of the ground. Well, probably from their half-back line, where a chain of hand passes eventually set it up for Croft.
That was just brilliant play there. A lot of the players got deep in their own back half, the Bulldogs. They were there in numbers, they ran, they supported each other. There was pressure applied by the West Coast Eagles, but they just had the extra player. And that first give there by Grant too just goes back again at Croft. And Croft just had plenty of time to sum up the situation.
So that goal to Croft, the opening goal of the match. Croft playing forward here. There's been a lot of changes, both before the game and when they've gone out there. Braun's kick to a half forward, and Rowan Smith comfortably at half back. The Bulldogs playing urgently as Curley's kick's a good one across the ground. Sadat Sir ends up getting it from Montgomery to Curley, who's got the job on Matera. Sets up Southern a bit. He's able to get a second crack maybe. So that's back to Ramiro. Ramiro, left foot, gets plenty of penetration. Grant and McIntosh, a pivotal duel tonight. Colin couldn't get a handball away. McIntosh was good to Evans. Evans to Banfield, to Kemp, back to Banfield. And now the Eagles string forward. Metropolis, I should say, kicks to centre half forward. Smith, back to him, was excellent. And strolls away and measures the kick to Garlick at centre wing. And Garlick's away with a short one and finds Croft.
Croft, he's got players wide. Johnson is one of them, but he gives it to Colin. Colin-Uke's kick a little too short there. And chipping in the Eagles, it was Tony Evans to knock the ball clear for a boundary throw-in. And the bench for the West Coast Eagles, Fuster, Simmons, Waterman and Lewis at the start of this match. And you can see there, just magnificent conditions, 16 degrees currently. It may get down to as low as 6. Mitchell White, kick out in front, good, Gehrig in front of Southern, looking to play on Fraser Gehrig. Kicks it out wide. Geez, run hasn't he, a long, long way, and Cousins, he's got the football about 50 metres from goal. Magnificent crowd here too for this big game between the West Coast Eagles and the Western Bulldogs. Already been mentioned about the current rivalry between these two clubs. Interesting start to the game. Cousins' kick, just across his body, sets it up right in front of the goals, in the danger zone for the Bulldogs. Garlick, Jakovic over the top, may have infringed. And the free kick, Djakovic not happy, but certainly the free kick there to Simon Garlick. He goes short, and the mark is taken down there by Cox. Over the top goes Cox, Ramiro. Already Jose Ramiro with 4 possessions. Short kick has been marked by Montgomery. Montgomery behind the wing. And have a look who's going to get it. Now he's run about 150 metres to get his second possession in that passage of play, Jose Ramiro. He goes in towards centre forward, lets himself down. Disposal, puts it straight into the face of Tony Evans. To Ball. Ball from half-back.
Kick to centre wing. Djakovic the target. Cox very good at the back, the spoil. Banfield couldn't get the handball away. McKenna, quick tackle. Bounce at centre wing. So Croft with his first goal for the season, the opening goal of this match. And there's the bench for the Bulldogs with young Alvey there, the 17-year-old. Mark Alvey, second from the right, playing his first game. Stephen Powell also there, back in the side. He did so well against Peter Matera on this ground last year. Worsfold, good tackle by Garlick. West handball, very effective to Hudson. Hudson at 50 metres, gives it everything he's got. It's pretty good, just misses it behind. We're looking at Hudson coming over, and in every match this year, he's kicked either 3 or 2 goals. Hasn't kicked a bag in any game, but what about the consistency? 23 goals so far. His smallest return has been a couple. There's Denton Liberatore, and he's managed 3 on 5 occasions. Oh, McIntosh, interestingly. Kolanyuk almost. McIntosh wide. Metropolis falls over. Some errors there by West Coast. Boundary throw-in.
Do you think the handball was meant for Metropolis?
No, I think it was just a release type handball. Just watch this. He tries to kick the ball to himself. He doesn't connect with the bottom of the ball. Kicks it about halfway up, and then he's under pressure. Good tackling there by Kolanyuk.
Lucky the Bulldogs didn't get a free kick, in my opinion. They're a chance here, though. Brilliant tap. Hudson just about put this down. He is exemplary from that area. Paul Hudson has kicked his first goal. The Bulldogs have got their second on the scoreboard, and they have the score 2-1 to 0.
It's a lively start here by the Bulldogs. There's no doubt about that. As we see this knock over the top, goes to, just watch this one from Grant. Knew exactly where he wanted to hit that ball, straight onto Hudson's chest, and that's good finishing by Hudson, and that's his 24th goal for the year, and he has been a lively performer for them up forward.
Well, another stat to Chris Grant. He's got 0-0-0 beside his name, but that was a magnificent little tap there. West to kick it forward. They've had 24 possessions to 12 so far in this early part of the game, the Bulldogs, so very much on top as far as that's concerned. The umpire will call for a bounce here. Ashley McIntosh to pick himself up.
Interesting battle going here on the moment too. Rowan Smith is playing as a loose man in defence, and John Worsfold is the player up the other end of the ground who's loose. Rowan Smith's already had a lot of the ball. We're just waiting to see how long Mick Malthouse allows that to go ahead.
Ramiro to full forward, Darcy and Ball in the pocket. Coming through was Johnson. So left forward pocket boundary throw. And Adrian Barrett has been a busy start to the night. Welcome.
Oh, thank you very much, Bruce. A very busy start. I think we've already seen what this game's going to be about. The die is set. The Eagles are after some revenge. They got embarrassed last year, and that's their catch cry in the rooms before the game. But the Bullies are a great side.
Is that the first time the Eagles have come out and warmed up like that, from your memory?
That is the first time they've done it. It was almost tit for tat, I think, going on out here before the game.
And Schofield is ill as we looked at the interchange bench, and Ellis's ankle didn't come up. Montgomery's kick to full forward. Ball, Darcy. Good one out, Jewell. Ball under pressure, handball. Okay to Mitchell White over the top. White's left foot is beautifully placed. It should sit for McKenna. He does it pretty well, the veteran. What a good player he is. McKenna to centre wing, finds his old mate Djakovic. This is a good build-up from the back pocket. Kent releases himself for Djakovic. Cameron cuts that one off. So Djakovic is right in front of our commentary position here. Starting the game forward. Very short. And gets Gehrig, who's quickly onto the left, tries to get around Southern. He kicks the ball back to within about 25 metres, free kick or a mark. Take your pick. Wine's got it against Morrison, and handball to Curley. Curley in the back pocket.
Very good, reliable captain is Scotty Wine. He architects that defensive move from the full back line. It finishes now with Rowan Smith. His handball wide. Isn't Ramiro an architect? He's got the football on centre wing, kicks the ball to half forward. They're a chance here, the Bulldogs. after the football is Grant, gives it away to Garlick. Garlick with a little bit of pace, tries to set it up. Hasn't Cox provided some run? Handball's wider still. May get his own hand pass here, Simon Cox. Little reverse punt kick didn't quite work. And eventually forced over. Is it on the full?
No.
A boundary throw in the right forward pocket for the Bulldogs.
Once again, we saw Smith, who had the ball deep in the back half of the Bulldogs. He's the guy that actually set the ball in motion, went forward to Ramiro. That's where they're going to set their attack up, across half-back and even deeper in their own defence.
Grant, Chris Grant, snapshot for goal. It's a goal. Magnificent goal by Grant, their third. Well, he had some space, and I think it surprised even Chris Grant, and he made the most of it, kicking his first and the Bulldogs' third.
It's a really sharp start here by the Bulldogs. Good work there by Grant, but what's really happening up the other end of the ground is they're getting the numbers back. That's where they set a lot of their play up deep in their own defence. Then players are prepared to run hard. They fan out from defence. They've got the options when they go forward, and that's what's putting the West Coast Eagles under pressure.
As Tim said, this is a sharp start, all right. They're irresistible at the moment, the Bulldogs. 19-0. West Coast need a quick one. Garlick from the centre. Short kick. Hudson. Their handball's been very good to West. West to Darcy on a long lead here. He's a left footer. Ball will know that. Still Darcy about 30 metres out. Ramiro having a wonderful opening turn. This will top it off, and he's going to kick it. Oh, wonderful play. Talk about confidence. 6 kicks, 1 handball. Tim, you sit there and shake your head. I'm with you, son. This is really good stuff.
Well, I said a moment ago it was a sharp start. It's quite a brilliant start because they're just getting in there, getting the ball. The West Coast Eagles just can't get hold of the ball at the moment. And when they do the defensive thing, whereas the Bulldogs are so full of confidence. They're attack. Momentum certainly with them at the moment.
Interesting kick that one.
Well, a real smart kick there by Jose Ramiro. He's had 7 possessions and has kicked the Western Bulldogs' 4th goal. Cousins confronted. The ball spills. Now it goes towards centre-half forward Croft. Johnson. No, he could have given the hand pass there, Brad Johnson. Instead went for the left foot kick at goal. Just out of the reach there of Jason Ball. It bounces through for a behind. Brad Johnson's first score, and for the first time for about 7 or 8 minutes. Just a little bit of a lull in the game.
And it might be time, actually. Jakovic is lined up in the forward line. Not even considering it this early stage of the game to get him back there, because he is one player who can steady the ship in the back half.
So McKenna to kick in for the Eagles. Goes in short, close to the boundary line. Bark taken out there by Morrison. So they've been besieged, the West Coast Eagles, in the early part of this game. They haven't scored yet. And that short kick has been well marked by Montgomery. Looking to give it off, but then kicks to the danger area right in front of the goal square. Chance for Hudson. Snapshot by Hudson. He's kicked another one. He's second. Well, he's got his average, Bruce. You said before that he's kicked 3 on quite a few occasions, but he's got at least 2 so far and plenty of time to add to that.
And that's his 25th for the year too, Paul Hudson. He really is playing some brilliant football at this stage of his career. Almost reinvented himself as a forward this year. And once again, the West Coast Eagles have their problems early in this game, facing an onslaught from the Bulldogs. They've got to win the ball out of the centre here.
Gee, Tim, wouldn't Terry Wallace like to transfer this form to the first or the last Saturday in September? This is magnificent play by the Bulldogs. And now the West Coast are going to have to show some championship qualities. Peter Matera gets it for the first time tonight from Mitchell White and gets a big cheer. Kicks to Gehrig on a long lead, and it's going to be a boundary throw in between centre wing and half forward.
And Bruce, the thing about the way the West Coast Eagles play is that they're not going to score quickly and heavily, because they do go very wide when they go forward. And that was a good example of it. The kick way out wide to Gehrig, as we see John Worsfold, their skipper, taken from the ground, and Waterman coming on.
Well, if that's the case, it's going to take them a long time to draw level, because they're 5.5 goals behind now.
That's right. They don't really kick goals in a hurry the way they play unless they win the ball out of the centre.
Last 3 weeks, they've kicked 10, 12 and 9, and they've won 2 of those matches when they've kicked 12 and 9 goals only, the West Coast. Admittedly, very different conditions.
And Metropolis has been sent down to pick up Rowan Smith across half-back as well.
So who's been sent down to pick up Jose Ramiro? Looks like Philip Reid.
Well, Reid's got the job, but he hasn't been playing closely enough to him.
Well, Adrian Barrage down on the boundary line.
Robbo, Mitchell White is playing in the back line instead of Jakovic. As Tim said, that may be the change. Peter Matera's gone onto the wing now. Chad Morrison at full forward.
Well, the big problem they've got is just getting hold of the football. 35 possessions to 18 in favour of the Bulldogs so far in this game. The kick to half forward, that's nearly a mark to Metropolis. It's been paid in front of Rowan Smith, so immediately that move pays off. Metropolis out wide, and it's taken by Braun, who was a good player earlier in the season. Shot for goal by Michael Braun. Well, the Eagles have got a score. And he's just behind, kicked by Michael Braun.
When that kick was taken there by Braun, Montgomery was on the top of the 10-metre square. He's been playing as half-forward, so he's going deep in defence too when the ball moves back.
Very simply out of the last line of defence, the kick in found Montgomery. His kick along the wing. Martin's a chance, 2 grabs. Matera lost the footy, then effected a very good smother off the boot of Michael Martin. Over for a boundary throw-in. The applause from the Eagles fans. They haven't had much to applaud for. It was an excellent smother by Peter Matera. Lewis onto the ground for the Eagles.
And Matera's been pushed up the ground too.
Johnson's high kick. Croft playing forward. White with him. White juggling. Mark's got it. Tim, you think something like Matera's smother can lift the team?
Well, those sorts of things can, but they've got to work their way slowly now back into the game.
Jakovic provides a lead. It's an interesting move for Jakovic, isn't it? He's basically been out of the game so far. Garrick's been reasonably lively in front of Southern. He's at centre wing. They're just having trouble getting forward. Just a little poke up towards Donnelly at the back. Ramiro gives it off. Montgomery's been very good. West, they just know where each other are at the moment. It's like they're in sinkers, and it's beautiful to watch. Smith's kick wide to Hudson, who's got 2 first-quarter goals here. Hudson at centre wing. In short, Ramiro. Banfield can't cut him off. Ramiro's had 6 kicks, 2 handballs. Make that 7. Look at that. He has drilled it on the left. It's to Croft at half-forward, and Croft, who kicked the first goal of the match, his first goal this season.
He's been quite brilliant, hasn't he, Jose
Jose
Ramiro?
will be waiting for the birthday cake to come out, won't he?
And Tim, he's kicked that perfectly on the left, and yet 5 minutes ago when he could have kicked the left foot goal, he was good enough to kick a very clever check side right footer.
Along the ground.
So Croft, goalless so far this season, going for his 2nd goal in the opening term. Kicks from 40 metres out. He's hooked it, and looks like he's missed. No! Goal! Well, I should have known better. They can't miss, can they?
Don't play cards against a goal umpire, Bruce.
6-2 to a behind.
And there's still 8 minutes left in this first term. But once again, just the set-up kick there by Hudson to Ramiro. Great vision here by Ramiro, and great finishing too on the left foot. That ball travelled about 45 metres to Croft, who drifted down into that space. And really, the West Coast Eagles have to shake themselves free in the midfield.
So a goal there to Croft, 6-2 to a behind. Best first quarter ever by the Bulldogs against West Coast. 7-2 to 2-2. Round 11, the first year West Coast came into the comp in 1987. That was 7-2 to 2-2. Currently, they're 6-2 to a behind.
Well, you'd reckon they're about 3s on to better that. There's 8 minutes left in this quarter. Scotty West from Chris Grant. Kick to full forward, and an easy mark in the finish. That should have been made a little harder for Luke Darcy, I'm sure. Michael Malthouse wouldn't have been happy with that. Darcy on his chest will shoot from about 35 metres and just a slight angle.
Can you believe this, any of you? I mean, this is
it's mind-blowing. It's like a practice session.
It's one of the most precise quarters of football I have ever seen. The usage of the balls, we see Gardner coming off the ground, being replaced by Reid. The usage of the ball has just been superb.
Well, this, Romo, would equal their best first quarter effort ever against West Coast.
Luke Darcy has been a goal kicker for the Bulldogs over the years. He stabs at it, but by G, he's done the job. They've now kicked 7 goals with 7 minutes left. Luke Darcy kicks his first goal, and some concerns there in the West Coast Eagles coach's box.
Well, there has to be. The Western Bulldogs have had 66 possessions to just 20 to 34 at this point of the game in the first quarter, as we see West once again just swinging onto his left foot. And that is the perfect pass there to Darcy in front, in the space, soft kick. Now we see Glenn Jakovic down on Darcy.
So the bounce back in the centre and ball on the ball. Ramiro with his 9th possession gets the ball to Hudson. He started very, very nicely. Paul Hudson just loses the footy, but he's got a little bit of time to recover his situation. Kicks into the pocket. Chris Grant nearly able to get on the end of it. Ball bounces over for a throw-in. Barra.
Yes, as Tim said, Jacko's gone back. Mitchell White's gone to the forward line. Philip Reid was getting absolutely killed by Ramiro. He's been moved, and Kemp's got the job now.
Darcy at the back. Kemp read that pretty well to McKenna. And McKenna's going to measure this to Banfield, running very hard. He's got it. Then delivers over Metropolis's head. Donnelly to attack. Trying to handle on the up. Cameron's got him. Too high. Well, free kick to Donnelly in the centre square. Lewis wanted it, and Donnelly's been told to come over the mark. And comes wide. And again, they're boundary riding to Braun. Oh, bad kick. And White slipped over too. Cox has got it. Then stops and props. Delivers to centre wing. Johnson's outnumbered here. He's got 4 Eagles against him. Donnelly might have been too hard getting it back towards Braun. Cameron's onto him, and it's going to be a bounce down. Barry, you've seen a lot of West Coast, a lot more than us. Can you remember an onslaught against them like this in Perth?
Bruce, not for many, many years, maybe back to 1989, and they just haven't started yet. They just have not started.
Well,
it's going to take them a long, long time to get back into this by the look of it. Colin to Cameron.
Cameron's kick is a very good one. 50 metres to centre half forward. Grant and McIntosh. That'll be an enthralling contest. If it remains that way, and close to the boundary line, it's gathered by Glenn Jakovic. Takes a bit of a risk and finds Matera at centre half back. Martin, not bad by Mickey Martin. I didn't think that deserved a 50-metre penalty. He fell over himself. Well, he's taken the mark and he's grabbed him by the jumper, then falling over 50 metres, I suppose, for grabbing of the jumper. Matera with the football in the middle of the ground. They've kicked just one behind the West Coast Eagles. Still 5.5 minutes left in the first quarter. The kick to centre half forward. Nearly trapped there by Sadat Sir. Scotty West. Wide to the wing. Good mark taken by Darcy. Just being allowed to play on at leisure are the Bulldogs. Darcy's kick is all right. Out in front there of Grant. McIntosh onto that player. Waterman gives away meterage. Back to Metropolis. Metropolis across the half-back line. And the mark is taken down in front of us by Reid.
One bounce. Now straightens the body. Amble inside to Banfield at centre wing. Banfield delivers to the pocket. Good-looking kick. White attacks hard. That's a splendid mark. Over the shoulder play, but he took the mark. Now let's see if he can go back and kick a long goal to give West Coast something to take into quarter time.
But it's not really a percentage position though either, is it? They've gone wide once again as they've worked the ball forward. He perhaps can kick the distance, but it's not really where you'd want one of your forwards kicking, as we see Reid leaving the ground once again, and he'll be replaced by Simons.
So White back in the team, had knee reconstruction last year, came back this year, and then out for 3 or 4 weeks. As Tim said, not the easiest kick. Kicks to fall forward, off hands, are behind. The other impressive thing about the Dogs is that this has been the most revered defence for 10 years, hasn't it, the West Coast? And they've just split them down the middle tonight. I know they didn't line up with Jakovic back there, but they've just split them in half.
Well, we just had another look at that effort by Mitchell White, and it was a good one in the finish. I think the umpire may have awarded the free kick if he hadn't have taken the mark, but certainly the second grab was gathered by the West Coast Eagles' Mitchell White. Cox to kick in for the Bulldogs. In the direction there of Scotty Wine. The ball spills for Ramiro. Underneath there, he's got the football, but it's all tied up at half forward for the West Coast Eagles. Jose Ramiro, he's been quite brilliant. 8 kicks, 2 hand passes, and has kicked a goal. And so far in this match, the Bulldogs, 47 kicks to 33, 26 hand passes to 14, 24 marks to 17, and it all shows on the scoreboard. They're 7-2 to 2 behinds. The Eagles a chance to go forward here through Metropolis. His kick will land within scoring distance. It spills to Kemp. Kemp, a shot for goal by Dean Kemp, is off to the left and through for the third behind to the Eagles. 3 behinds plays 7 goals to 2 goals each to Hudson and Matthew Croft for the Bulldogs. A sensational opening to this big game between the Eagles and the Bulldogs at the Wacker. Friday night football on Channel 7. The kick in again is first class and finds Cameron. Looking to play on Leon Cameron for Montgomery. Croft just getting into the action. Montgomery, little hand pass for Croft. Can he shrug the tackle? He does. Hand passes further afield. Look at Southern run all the way down the ground. Danny Southern to the goal face. Grant at the back. Shot for goal by Grant. It's 8 goals to nothing for the Bulldogs. Well, Chris Grant has kicked his second goal with Paul Hudson and Matthew Croft. It's just been an avalanche by the Bulldogs, 8-2 to 3 behinds.
Well, it's almost like a training drill, isn't it? They kicked the ball out from full back. Cox went wide, he found his mark, he went up the side where the players had left some space to run to, and then they worked the ball forward again, and Grant just finished off after winning the one-on-one duel there with McIntosh. And at the moment, it's just all one-way traffic.
2 goals to Grant in the opening term, and this is the best first quarter the Bulldogs have put together against the Eagles. Got to go back to 87 since they kicked 7. They've now got 8-0. West goes forward. It has been a magnificent display of football. West again at 50 to Montgomery. Well, you'd back this, wouldn't you? He couldn't miss, could he? We did. Well, they are human after all. But right now, this team is white hot. They came in with 8-1, a game clear of Sydney with a touch of percentage. Young Alvey, we saw there a moment ago, the 17-year-old waiting to have his first run. 8-3 to 3 behind they lead.
I just wish I hadn't made that phone call before the game.
And I told you you're a naughty boy for changing.
You told me not to tip against the Bulldogs, Robbo.
McIntosh wants Kemp, he's outnumbered. Croft's been a revelation in the opening term. Colin lets fly and misses. Behind.
I'll tell you what, Terry Wallace has just gone down to the interchange bench, and I think if he was going to be critical of their play, that's the only area that he could have been critical. Steve Colin missing something that maybe he should have kicked.
He might be just catching an early flight back, Terry.
You think?
He may not be going down the interchange bench at all.
So McIntosh, a little one to himself. Oh, then sets Banfield up a bit. Banfield belts it away. West getting plenty of the football. Braun hard at him. Well done, Braun. And then floats it forward to half forward. Garrick free kick, surely. Now he can kick this, Garrick. He's a thumping kick. And the Eagles are desperate for one late in the term.
Bruce, he might have to, because it was Southern that set Grant up for the Bulldogs' last goal.
Short to Braun. And Braun's got it within 30 metres of goal. I think we're going to hear a mighty cheer here.
That's the first
Bit
time
of irony if he goes through.
Sorry, Bruce, I was just about to say it's the first time they've actually found some space in their own forward line too. Most of the time the Bulldogs have been collapsing back and they've had their numbers back there. We talk about flooding, that's exactly what they've done.
Braun from 30 metres out. He hasn't kicked it very well. Well, they wanted something to take the quarter time, didn't they? And they didn't get it there. Braun's a couple of behinds. 8-4 to 4 behinds here. 52 to 4.
Well, we see Terry Wallace there beckoning Simon Garlick to give him some instructions. There's a minute and a half left in this first term, so the Bulldogs can add to their already first-class scoreline of 8-4 to 4 behinds. Keeping the West Coast Eagles goalless at this stage is a top effort, but kicking 8 goals themselves, well, they'd have to be very, very happy. Rowan Smith has got the football, running around in circles, trying to run away from Jason Ball, and then delivers wide. And still, the ball is bouncing beautifully for the Bulldogs. Cox from half-back, kicks to half-forward. The ball spills to the back. That's a free kick, is it? A bump out there before the ball had got close enough, so the free kick is with Croft. Under a minute left. Croft to kick the ball to within scoring distance for the Bulldogs. 35, 40 metres from their goal. It spills to the back of the pack. Hudson again to the advantage of Montgomery. back to Martin. Martin over his left shoulder. The kick won't go far enough. And back there is Matera to mop up for the Eagles. He looks and then kicks to centre half back. Simmons has got the football. Simmons can go down the ground. Is there enough time left? He may have carried it too far. Gee, was lucky. He's attacked from behind. Got the hand pass away. Waterman gives away meterage. Doesn't Jakovic look comfortable back there? And he thumps it to within scoring distance. But back there is Scotty Wine, the big general in the Western Bulldogs lineup, and he's marked safely across half-back. Gets the hand pass away. Rowan Smith, he's had a fair bit of the football. That's his 8th possession as the siren sounds to end a first quarter by the Western Bulldogs, in which they kicked 8 goals for to 4 behinds to give Robert Wiley in the foreground and Michael Malthouse, the West Coast Eagles coach, plenty to talk about and think about during this break.
Reminds me, Tim, of that final against Sydney last year. They kicked 9-2 to 5 behinds and had the game wrapped up.
Opposition under 12 goals a game. Good luck from here.
Well, Adrian, they'd have to if they're going to win this game, and to do that now would be just about impossible. 8 goals to 0 as far as goals are concerned in the first term, favouring the Bulldogs, and they'll go forward again here. Scotty West, Ramiro, and the umpire's found a free kick. Has it gone off the ball there, it looks like? No, it might have gone to West in his endeavours to get the hand pass away.
He was dumped after he got rid of the ball, Robert.
Fair enough. Well, his kick lands at centre half forward, taken by Darcy, and there's the arrogance. A right foot kick by Darcy to the front of the goals. Matera gets the kick away. It may not go out of bounds. Mickey Martin's about to swoop on it. And fortunately for Peter Matera, he's forced a boundary throw in. 50 metres from the Bulldogs' goal, so already into attack. Brendan Fuster and Philip Reid warming the bench. The ball comes to Martin. Hand pass well smothered there by Peter Matera. And he did that in the first quarter in much the same position on the ground. So early in the second term, no score added to either team. Ball gets rid of Wine. Ramiro, the hand pass, and taken away by McKenna. McKenna's kick will land close to the wing, and Gehrig has had to come a long way down to take that football. And little kick to Kemp. Kemp off the left foot, goes towards full forward, getting back. Garlick not able to take the mark, confronted by Mitchell White. The ball spills wide for Sadat Sir. His kick along the boundary line, not quite far enough. Gehrig, little kick is okay. It's been marked by Banfield.
60 metres from goal.
This is where they're slow.
Yeah, they're slowly setting it up, whereas the Bulldogs penetrate, don't they? In a hurry. Banfield's kick to full forward, getting back Cox to help Wirra. It's still in the pocket with Cousins. Over the top, free kick to Curley for a high tackle in the right back pocket.
In the end, look where that kick went to, probably the smallest guy in their forward line in Cousins. And Cousins just giving away a sloppy free kick.
Well, it wasn't the opening we expected, was it? We thought there'd be fireworks, but we got fireworks, but all from one team. It was explosive, all right. If you were driving the Western Bulldogs train, it was just perfect. But West Coast basically hasn't left the station. They're going to have to hurry up.
Well, you can get a bit of a line through the form of these two teams. The West Coast Eagles struggled to beat the Blues by 8 points, and the Bulldogs should have beaten Carlton by about 15 goals earlier in the year.
Ramiro to Smith. To Hudson, good half volley, and look at this, the Bulldogs have got a padding. Johnson will take advantage of it. 1-2, can kick a goal. 40 metres out, measures it, hooks it, and misses. He's disappointed with himself, but so quickly did they take the ball from the back pocket to half forward and have a paddock in front of themselves.
Well, once again, though, Bruce, they all push up the ground. Once they gain possession, they then all run as hard as they possibly can to the space.
McKenna still under pressure, still with McKenna, comes back, wants Jakovic. Good effort there by the Dogs. Jakovic was strong, but Hudson was good. It's like we're watching, Tim, the breakdown of what a formula that's worked so well for so long for the West Coast. It's like it's been demolished in front of our very eyes.
Well, it's a very defensive formula, though.
Jakovic on the up, little handball to Metropolis.
Well, Metropolis from a standing start kicks it back towards the wing. Knocked away there by Gehrig. Down at ground level, Michael Braun to Lewis. Lewis, a favoured son here of the West Coast Eagles, but a very, very ordinary kick there by Chris Lewis. out on the full when he wasn't really under a great deal of pressure. He'd be disappointed with that. 205 AFL games. Now for Chris Lewis, free kick to be taken by Leon Cameron. Donnelly minding the mark. There's the scoreboard. Yeah, believe it, it is Western Bulldogs, 8 goals to nothing, and they kicked them all in the first term. This is Curley, nearly run down by Evans, but held the ball up long enough to allow Wirren to get on his own, and he's got no one really to kick to. Still short. Cameron for the Bulldogs. A long kick by Leon Cameron on this occasion. Terrific mark taken out there by Martin. Got rid of Matera with his body and then took it as he was just falling to the ground. Mickey Martin is just before the wing in the attacking half for the Western Bulldogs. Hooks the kick to centre half forward. Now where are the Crummers? They are there for the Eagles. Lewis to Donnelly. Back to Braun. Braun doing a pretty good job. He's had 8 possessions. Kicks the ball to centre half forward. Morrison going to just get run into there by Cameron. Handballs away to Cousins. Cousins unselfishly into the pocket at the feet of Mitchell White. Can't control it, and it spills over for a throw-in.
Just look at where the ball ended up again, though, right in the pocket. They had the chance when Braun was in about the centre of the ground to cut back inside, but they continued to go wide, playing right into the hands of the Bulldogs.
West held on to Cousins. That's good. Donnelly back to Cousins. Good finisher normally. Left foot, he's got it. They're on the board at last. Listen to the roar. It's like they've won their 3rd premiership. The Eagles get a goal. They've had a fair bit of the footy in the second quarter. 1-4 to 8-4.
Well, they didn't have much of it in the first quarter. 92 possessions to 57 as we just watched this set up again. Cousins working extremely hard. He's been a more accomplished footballer in 1998, had a pretty ordinary year by his 96 standards in 97. He's worked hard to get the ball.
So the first goal coming after about 5 minutes of play in the second term for the West Coast Eagles. Up high there was Jason Ball. Braun is underneath there somewhere, taken away by Kemp, but the umpire, well, he was a bit stiff, Dean Kemp, there, because just a split second later with the whistle and he was away. The umpires for tonight's game are Gavin Dorr, Chris Mitchell and Shane McInerney. And this is Shane McInerney with the football right in the middle of the whacker. Not a bad bounce. Ball dispossessed by Johnson. Ball to half forward for the Eagles. Scotty West, hand pass. Gee, that was an instinctive hand pass. Ramiro's been dumped. Now that might slow him down a bit. He was a key player for the Bulldogs in the first quarter. McKenna inside 50. They've got their second goal within 2.5 minutes. It has taken Guy McKenna to kick a goal to create the second opportunity for the Eagles early in the second term as Evans lifts from the ground.
Well, they've just lifted their tempo. Watch this. Lewis puts a hard tackle there, a solid tackle on Ramiro. They gain possession of the ball. They dispossess the Bulldogs. Then they work it forward. Then Guy McKenna cuts back inside and finishes off. But they've just lifted their tempo and they're starting to flex their muscle.
It's as if the West Coast have made a statement here. McKenna gets his first goal for the season. They've got a couple and suddenly the game changes. Johnson's kicked the centre half forward. Metropolis marks to Jakovic. Jakovic wide. They've got numbers out there. Taken by Reid. Reid's handball was a good one. This is better. Waterman's a good finisher. Goes for it. Kicks at the full forward. Well done by Gehrig at the back. Can't get the kick away. Morrison. It's a frantic pace at the moment. Sir over the top of it. He's gone. Morrison's going to go back and kick their third. Sir holding the footy. And Morrison from point blank range. And this is what we expected in the first 5 minutes.
I think Ball's given them something in the centre bounce. He's just created some opportunity.
Lewis has been strong too in the last 5 minutes.
Well, they were shell-shocked, weren't they, after that initial start by the Bulldogs and the onslaught. They've changed their side around a lot now. They've got Matera, they've got Kemp, they've got Banfield, all their big guns in the centre of the ground. And we just watched that again.
Maybe should have left it for Mickey Martin.
So Morrison to kick the third goal. It must be the scoring end, Tim. It's 3 goals to 8, all 11 at the right, but this crowd is really into it. And the Eagles are back in this match.
Well, for the first time, they actually have started to find themselves some free players. Just watch this again. So that's actually drags the ball back in. And I guess technically that's a free kick. It is a free kick, you're quite right.
5 goals, still the advantage with the Western Bulldogs. They haven't kicked a goal in this second term as yet. Ball up high, he's jumping and leaping over the top of Scotty Wine. The ball still to be won in the middle of the ground. Banfield to Kemp. Kemp goes wider still to Waterman. Waterman out in front there of Mitchell White and turns Cox inside out. Very, very skillfully done. Kicks to full forward, knocked away by Sir. Donnelly and Cameron. Donnelly goes back to Mitchell White. And still close to the boundary line. There's a real struggle. Cox gives the ball up. Lewis, tackle, gets the hand pass away. Banfield with the right foot, very skillfully done to Reid. And Reid, who was given a bit of a dressing down, not vehemently at all by Michael Malthouse at quarter time, just looked the young fellow in the eye and gave him some good, earnest advice. And he's back in the fray and a chance to kick the Eagles' 4th goal early in this second term. Philip Reid, not even up to 10 AFL games yet. Only a young 18-year-old lad from the local competition. He's going to have to kick the ball about 45 to 50 metres to get the distance. Across the face, Scotty Wine helps it over for a rush behind to the West Coast. So Tony Liberatore there with Brett Montgomery and Dent, who was just off to Libba's right, of course missing this game through suspension.
Cox to Smith. Gee, the crowd's involved now, aren't they?
They're noisy, aren't they? And the Bulldogs in this quarter have only had 18 possessions to 34, so the West Coast Eagles are right on top in general play.
Good kick to Martin. Martin has done some material-like things tonight, in opposed to the great one. So he's between half-back and centre wing. Not many options.
Well, they're manning up a little better, aren't they, the Eagles?
Martin's long high kick. Chris Grant the target, front spot. Worsfold at the back, or rather Jakovic at the back, building the ball away. What's the situation with Tony Evans-Barra?
Bruce, the Eagles may have lost him for the game. He's gone up to the rooms, has rolled his ankle and is in a lot of trouble. You're right about the crowd, though. They're really lifting the Eagles.
Jakovic, pressure from Grant. Good tackle applied by Grant, and also Brown, who's come on the ground in the last 3 or 4 minutes on Cousins, and it'll be a ball up.
And you've got that matchup you want it now too. Grant against Jakovic, centre-half forward, centre-half back.
Ball, who, as Robbo said, has been very aggressive in this term. Brown's kicked to a bit of space. McKenna and Collinwood. Still McKenna. Handball back was okay. Waterman finds some space. Can go a bit further. Delivers to Garrick at centre-half forward. The punch away from Southern was good. Lewis and Curley. Lewis has been good at this turn. Gives it to Matera. Matera through the centre. Little kick, not accurate enough. White's going to roll onto it. Still with White. Over the top. Another one. Morrison again. Oh, this is great stuff. This stirs you, doesn't it? 4-5 to 8-4. They're coming back strong.
Well, as brilliant as the Western Bulldogs were in the first quarter, the West Coast Eagles are just taking up to Chris Lewis pushing up, and all of a sudden the Eagles are starting to get there in numbers and find some space, and that was a terrific handball there by Mitchell White, just winning the one-on-one battle there against Sadat Sir.
Gee,
So 4 goals in this term to the Eagles, a goalless first term. Against 8 goals to the Bulldogs, they've kicked 4 to nothing so far in this second term. It certainly has been a change of fortunes. They are getting a little bit of luck with the bounce of the ball. Now, a free kick against the Eagles, too many in the square, taken away by Scotty Wine to Curley. In turn, he goes to Wirra. Wirra, kick smothered off the boot. Gathered by Grant, then Ramiro, shrugs the tackle, kicks it high towards full forward. Croft can't take the mark. Getting back to help the defenders is young Cousins. His kick out wide. not Mark when it probably should have been by Matera. Martin to pump it back for the Bulldogs. Wide there of the goalpost, through for a behind, kicked by Michael Martin. And certainly the West Coast Eagles have got that sniff that they really were lacking in the first quarter. No intensity, taken by the Bulldogs, the scruff of the neck. And certainly the Eagles have led the way so far in the second term. Glenn Jakovic looking more accustomed in that key defensive post. The ball spills to the back of the pack. Banfield runs onto it and then kicks it close to his offensive 50-metre line. Punched away by Southern. Good disciplined play. Simmons back, spins away, out of trouble. Back onto his left foot. Kicks in towards full forward. Chance here. Mitchell White again. Will the ball bounce for that player? Gets the handle away. Gehrig goes in. And the Eagles have got their 5th on the scoreboard.
Sensational game, isn't it? Can you believe it, Tim?
He can, because he changed his tip. Bruce, he's still a chance now.
Hey, I'm glad I made that phone call now. I'm glad I made that phone call. This is breathtaking football, isn't it?
Wonderful.
It's amazing. We had a discussion on the way over here about the defence of football and how the goals have dried up. Well, you just wouldn't see goals scoring like this. It is just brilliant.
What a remarkable match. A sensational start to this match. The Bulldogs kicked 8, and now the West Coast have kicked 5 in a row. 13 goals have been kicked to the right of screen on a perfectly still night for football. And again, the free kick goes to the Eagles. Kemp from the centre, who's been important, kicks to Gehrig, and he's got it. It's one-way traffic. It's all to the right of screen, and this time it's the Eagles. Well, we talked about a record opening quarter for the Doggies. You better get the book out, because the West Coast are closing in on their record for the second term. Gehrig to kick from 45 metres. And the way things have been going tonight, you reckon he's 10s on to goal. Listen to the crowd. Gehrig with 2 second quarter goals. And the avalanche continues. It's 6 goals to 8. It is the most stunning first half I've seen in a long time.
And it was just after I finished saying that the West Coast Eagles play a very defensive style of football, and now we're seeing them play a very offensive style of football. They're winning the ball out of the centre, there's no doubt about that. The fact that Kemp's up there, and also ball going into the centre square.
Well, Jason Ball jumping and leaping. We just saw Fraser Gehrig happy with his efforts. Second goal for that player in this quarter. But you see Ball there up against Scotty Wine, taken away by West. A quick kick. And indiscriminately, no one there for the Bulldogs. Jakovic, solid tackle by Ramiro on his opponent, which may have been Braun. The kick towards half forward. The crumbing being done here by Reid. He'd do well to cover himself in glory here, Reid. Kicks to the front of the goal, so that's and that could have been a tripping against Morrison. Hand pass away to Johnson. Johnson for the Bulldogs, wide, too wide. The mark was taken by Garlick, but it was over on the full. Garlick indicating where the mark may be. Free kick to Cousins, goes short to Metropolis. Metropolis now approaching the 50-metre line. Will kick it to the goal square. No mark. Banfield, no, a free kick to the Bulldogs. Banfield kicked the goal. It will be a 50-metre penalty against Drew Banfield.
And Robbo, I wouldn't mind going down to Adrian Barish. Can you hear us, Adrian, down there?
Sure can, Tim.
Have you ever known a West Coast Eagles crowd to get involved in a game like they are tonight?
No, I think what's fired them up was getting belted in the first quarter, and it's lifted everyone, and they're right behind them, Tim. It's an incredible feeling down here. Just an enormous crowd.
Evans obviously had his ankles strapped, just trying to warm himself up again on the boundary line there.
Well, the kick went very wide, and the bounce not really favouring Peter Matera. Gathered by Grant to Croft. Very good kick. Weighted beautifully for Croft. He's about 65 to 70 metres out from goal. He goes short, a little too short, and chipping in is McKenna. Across the half-back line. Hand pass to Matera. Peter Matera. Wider still. Waterman, who's been pretty good. He started on the bench, the short kick. Not able to grasp it. There was Andrew Donnelly. And it spills over for a boundary throw-in.
down to Adrian Barrage again.
Timmy, Philip Reid, another amazing turnaround. He was beaten badly by number 36, Romero. Now he's fixing up Brad Johnson.
Braun, there's so many little subplots in this match, aren't there? In fact, we're sitting right behind the statisticians for the Bulldogs, and have a look at their last goal at the 26-minute mark of the first quarter. And the statisticians in front of us are jumping up and down. I don't think they could be keeping a reliable guide. This match has got you on the edge of your seat so early, and it's building up to what could be a classic. It's 8 goals, 5 to 6-5 here. Remember that the Bulldogs led 8 goals to nothing at quarter time. Wine versus Ball. Wine wins it and belts it forward. McKenna's had a big quarter on Collinwood and runs it out of play. 8 possessions, McKenna, an important goal. The second goal of the quarter he kicked after Cousins had got the first, and it's all happened after that. Wine front spot, won it comfortably. Brown's got it. Romero very short. Brown hooks it back, but there's Eagles everywhere. Waterman's getting hold of the footy a fair bit. Gives it off to Jakovic. Jakovic at half-back. Finds some space. Waterman provides a shepherd. Jakovic straightens the body. Kicks to half-forward. Morrison's outnumbered. Croft at the back. Comes to Garrick. He's very quick. Handball under pressure. Cameron to get back. It's like they've changed jumpers, isn't it? You can't believe it. Cameron in trouble. Deliberately pushes it out and doesn't get penalised. He's lucky. He's very, very lucky. 8 goals to 6.
Well, Croft's the player across half-back for the Bulldogs who's free. Up the other end of the ground, Waterman's the player who's free. He's actually probably doing more damage at half-back than what Croft is for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, the umpire from close to the centre of the ground has awarded a free kick here. And it may go to the Eagles, to be taken by Chad Morrison, is it?
Hanging on, Robbo.
Well, that umpire telling everyone to get out of the road was right back inside the centre square. And there was another umpire down in front there who had probably had control of the situation as far as geographically was concerned. That might have been Chris Mitchell. And Gavin Dorr overriding there, giving the free kick to Morrison. He's already kicked 2 goals, Chad Morrison. So a chance to kick his third. Just swinging away to the left. And it's a mark to Ball. Certainly a mark being paid to Jason Ball. Just wide of the goal square. And he has been terrific in this second term, Ball.
In front of half-time, Tim.
It's just extraordinary football, isn't it? I would not have backed the West Coast Eagles with bad money at quarter time. They just looked totally despaired and out of it. And they have just been quite magnificent in this second term. This bloke's been good in the centre square, just with the physical stuff, has been jumping into Scotty Wine. Really their second string ruckman. Gardner's their number 1 boy. He's on the sidelines at the moment.
Well, he really should kick a goal. And you rarely see them miss from there, and he hasn't. Jason Ball kicks his first goal. And with 5 3/4 minutes left, the Eagles have kicked their 7th goal. Chris Lewis mouthing off, and he's got good reason. He's been one of the players that has had a lot to do with this resurgence in this second quarter by the Eagles. They are 7-5. They trail by just 6 points. The Western Bulldogs 8-5.
Seven-goal term to the West Coast Eagles. Only the second time they've ever kicked 7 goals in the second quarter against the Doggies. So it's a night where the records have been broken left, right and centre. But more importantly, it's a night where we're seeing some great football.
And Johnson coming off the ground and Hudson coming back on. He'll be picked up by Metropolis and half-back. Waterman's still the free man in defence there for the West Coast Eagles. Up the other end of the ground, it's Rowan Smith now, who's the free man for the Bulldogs. And I think Terry Rolls would like it that way too.
Ball and Wine, run by Braun, pushes to centre half forward. Good effort by Cameron. Just used his arms and body to push Donnelly underneath it and took the mark. Lewis to go hard here against Curley. Curley took a beautiful mark. Handball inside to Wirra. Wirra's going to stretch Lewis here. Runs the full distance. Bangs it to Darcy at full forward. McIntosh back there. Also Banfield. Banfield's handball is good. Or Metropolis, I should say. To Waterman. Waterman's kicks a beauty to Simmons. Simmons at centre half back. Running away. was almost going to bounce, then kicks it wide. Once read is a bad kick by Simmons. He held onto the ball a bit long in the first quarter on one occasion and probably overcooked it there as well. Well, he coughed it up at the end of Garlick.
He had perfect positioning, didn't he, as he broke up the centre of the ground, then he went wide again.
He's being too fussy when he gets it. Smith kicks it wide and finds Wirra at half-back.
Brad Wirra with 4 3/4 minutes left in the second term. He's got the footy between right half-back and centre wing, Rowan Smith. And all 15 goals in the match so far have been kicked to the end, to which the Eagles are kicking in the second term. The kick covers the players at centre-half forward for the Bulldogs. Getting back is Simmons. Handball to McIntosh. McIntosh's right foot kick is very good. He had to get it past Martin, and he succeeded in doing so and found Peter Matera. Bulldogs by a goal. Peter Matera's kick has been marked by Gehrig, who's looked a little livelier in this second term. 10th possession to Fraser Gehrig. Kicks to centre-half forward, and Metropolis has provided some good running support. Come all the way down. He did gather the ball just a moment ago, right on the full-back line.
And the West Coast Eagles were 35 possessions down on the Western Bulldogs at quarter time. They're now almost level with them. So they've just totally dominated in the second term by hand and by foot.
Well, you can see the tempo getting to the players there. You don't often see Peter Matera miss his target by such a big margin. Bulldogs with 3 possessions get the ball across the half-back line to Ramiro. And Simmons does a good job on Rowan Smith. Lewis can't control it. And 3.5 minutes left in the first half. It's been a terrific 2 quarters. One, the first quarter by the Bulldogs, where they kicked 8 goals, and this, the second term, belongs to the Eagles, where they've kicked 7 goals. And Barra on the boundary line, a further report.
Robbo, another little subplot. Michael Braun doing a great job on Scotty West. Another crucial point.
Metropolis gets it from Cousins and kicks to Waterman. You almost want this to be all square at half-time, don't you? Waterman's kick to fall forward. Morrison! A beauty! And this will square it up. He's kicked 2 goals in this second term. Kolonyuk off for the Bulldogs. And Montgomery on. So Sir's got some problems. Remember, no Crediuk, no Dent, and no Ellis. But we were saying no West Coast at the start. The formula that I thought was breaking up before my very eyes has reinvented itself in the second quarter, and I actually like this one better than the one before. What a football club this one is, to come back from where they were. There's a lot of footy to be played, but gee, they've given themselves every chance now, and scores are level. Unbelievable. Unbelievable that we could be tied up. If they'd taken you away, Tim, for half an hour and you came back, you'd put someone in a straitjacket if they suggested this was happening.
Well, mainly because it was dominated so much by the Bulldogs in the first quarter, and the Eagles were just completely smothered.
Well, they just didn't touch the ball in the first quarter because of the domination of the Western Bulldogs, but it's been the reverse of that in this second quarter. The Western Bulldogs have hardly touched the ball.
Well, there's still time for either side to score to take the lead. And Chris Grant, just that elusive bounce. Scotty Wine out wider to Brown. Not really getting much space. Kicks to the feet there of McIntosh. And that is a great example of a player not in a very good position to gather the ball, put his whole body behind it, half volleyed it, and took it over for a boundary throw in. Barra.
Robbo, there is a breeze to the right of screen, but it's not an 8-goal breeze, mate.
No, I wouldn't think so. The West Coast and the Western Bulldogs all tied up. 2 minutes left in the second quarter in what could be billed as the match of the round on Friday night here on Channel 7. Chris Grant to take the ball away, doesn't succeed. McIntosh, but Montgomery gets it wide to Brown. Brown this time, this is a better kick by Nathan Brown. To the front of the goals, it's punched away. It will fall at the feet of Peter Matera. He runs across his defensive goal. He's in the square, then bombs away. Tries the big torpedo, doesn't quite come off. And a desperate effort there by Simon Garlick to knock the ball clear for a throw-in.
Deep into this first half.
And Sadat Sir has been shifted off Morrison. He's now on Lewis. and Todd Curley is picking up Morris.
Banfield has been good in this term. Scrub around the corner. Braun's been fantastic in this quarter. Back to Matera, who's lifted. Clever to McIntosh. McIntosh through the centre to full forward. White's on a long lead. Doggies are getting back there. White missed Lewis. Sir with him. Little one off the ground. Back to Cox. They're being tested at the back, the Dogs. Kicks to centre wing. Darcy putting the pressure on him as Cousins. He was important when they were 8 goals behind. Beautiful kick to Braun. To Matera. He's got Banfield outside of him. Didn't see him. Back to Braun. Made a bit of a mess of it, Matera. Back to Simmons. Has Lewis outside. Even better to White. This will put them in front. White steady. Goes. Leans back. Kicks to the goal square. And Gehrig is... No, he hasn't. But West Coast is in front. 8-6 to 8-5.
Well, Bruce, I've seen a lot of football, but I do not think I've seen a turnaround like this ever. And I guess my mind goes back to the time Hawthorn was struggling, I think, by more than 50 points at half-time against Geelong, and they made up that difference in the second half. But the transformation that's come over this game in a quarter of football, you really do have to be here to witness it, or be at home in a lounge chair to actually believe that it could take place.
Yes, a remarkable first half of football. Extraordinary stuff here. We all came over with a lot of excitement. The atmosphere in this ground is finals-like. It's electrifying, and they haven't been let down for a moment. Free kick to Wine. Just 1 point to the Bulldogs in this term after 8-4 in the opening quarter. Wine to Brown. What an ovation West Coast is going to get here. Down the ground, free kick against Reed. Well, a late goal by the Doggies would give them a bit to take into half-time. Martin's got it in the centre square. He's had a pretty good first half, but Matera's had a lot of the ball late. This is an important late play. Grant's on the lead, he's got him. Well, this would be a big kick, wouldn't it? Right on half-time, Grant to go back. The siren sounds. Oh, boy, if only this was the end. I mean, what a finale we could have here tonight. You'd want to bottle this first half, wouldn't you? Brown getting cleaned up down the ground. Chris Grant to either level the scores or give the Bulldogs a 5-point lead at the long break. 54 to 53. At quarter time, they led by 48 points. They trailed by 1. He kicked 2 first quarter goals. This is a big man's kick from 50 metres out, and he hasn't scored. And the Eagles are in front, and they roar. The hair does stand up on the back of your neck. I know this is really tough on Grant. I reckon Carey would have kicked that. I know that's a hard call, but 54 to 53 didn't make the distance from 48 metres. They wanted something there, and they got nothing.
And their captain, Scotty White, they're just gathering the boys before they leave the arena up the other end of the ground. The same thing's going on there, the West Coast Eagle. Johnny Worsfold, he spent a lot of that first half on the bench. He's out there amongst the side. And look at the face there, Glenn Jakovic. Have a look at that. Have a look at the way he is talking to him.
The right of screen. Statisticians everywhere would be having a ball tonight, wouldn't they? It's doubtful we've seen a match like it. Let's hope they can go goal for goal in the final half and finish off what could be a classic here. Through the centre. Garlick's kick to half forward. Front spot, strong mark taken there by Metropolis against Montgomery. It's important, I think, from both teams' point of view that they are very solid early. Cousins to ball. Both coaches would like the scoring to slow down a little. There's Libber. Ball's kicked to half forward, measures it all. Rowan Smith missed it, probably should have marked it. Southern's hands were okay. Sir, good vision. Got the ball to Johnson. Johnson runs a long, long way, kicks the ball low. Didn't really have a target. Waterman strolls after it and very happily sees the ball out of play. I wonder if we'll get back to some normality here, where we see a very close contest. The scoreboard is tight at the moment, but what we saw in the first half was dominance Firstly the Dogs and then the Eagles. Montgomery round the body, kicks to centre half forward. Jakovic attacks hard. Croft may have snared it off him. Metropolis, Wira sits and waits. Metropolis works it to the line, and it's a boundary throw-in. At half forward right, the Bulldogs in attack. They trail by 1 behind.
So to make a comparison, it's been very difficult. All Bulldogs in the first quarter. There a chance to go forward here through Chris Grant. His kick to full forward. Darcy and McIntosh. That's been a good contest. Matera to get back and help the key defender. Kicks it out wide to a vacant wing area. Now the race is on. Rowan Smith and Simmons. Simmons knocks it in front of himself for the safety of the line. And it will be thrown in just forward of centre wing in the Bulldogs attacking half. Mitchell White warming the bench, Tony Evans, John Worsfold. And didn't quite catch who that fourth one was for the Eagles. West Martin missed his target, which may have been meant for Montgomery. We did see Mitchell White just stretching his legs there, Adrian.
Robbo, he did leave the game in the second quarter and go into the rooms. I think, well, I know he's hurt his thigh and may not come back on. Brendan Fuster now full forward.
So West for the Bulldogs, close to the boundary line. Scotty West kicks it back towards centre half forward. Matera tries to thread his way through. Kent Howell didn't have it. Martin a little kick. Tried to get it to his own advantage, but chipping in was Jakovic to force a boundary throw in. Big crowd here at the Wacker tonight. Friday night football, the West Coast Eagles playing host to the Western Bulldogs. The Bulldogs have taken all before them so far in season 1998. They missed their chance last year, and under the coaching of Terry Wallace, Brian Royal, Phil Malin, etc., they are striving for their first premiership since 1954. Scotty Wind and Jason Ball, well, he's just been a pest, Jason Ball, since going into the ruck. He's certainly given Scotty Wind something to think about. The bounce of the ball, left half forward for the Western Bulldogs. Wine gets his right fist to it. Garlick gives away a little bit of meterage. Martin across the centre half forward area. Good mark. Running with the flight of the ball. Grant has taken it about 40 metres out directly in front. He's probably a little closer than 40 metres. And you would think that Chris Grant would kick the distance from this area here. You can see the cameras right behind going down the ground. That was a good kick by Mickey Martin.
Good kick to space there. Probably aiming the ball there for Darcy. Darcy doing the right thing. Grant running with the fly of the ball. He just kept his opponent at bay. Darcy made sure that there wasn't a collision.
So Chris Grant going for his third goal to become the equal leading goal kicker in the match with Chad Morrison. Grant's kick, stabs at it, misses to the left. 2 goals, 1 to Chris Grant. Scores level early part of the third quarter here at the Wacker. 8-6 apiece.
There was a tentative kick on that occasion from Grant.
Remember his second half here last year, Tim, when he had that huge finish and the Dogs hung on. So they want another big one. McIntosh to Braun, to Matera, bounce in trouble. Just changes direction. He knows if he was grabbed, he was gone. Back to McIntosh. Oh, very cute, and found some space. Got through 3 doggies and belts at the centre half forward. Over the back, Morrison onto it. It sits now, and he misses. He kicked 3 in the first half. The ball just took a little longer to sit for him, didn't it? And then he had to change his stride and make an angle of it. So a miss from Grant at one end, a miss from Morrison at the other.
It was all set up for him, wasn't it? Curly flew, but he missed everything. Morrison's his opponent.
Cox short. Gets to Cameron at back pocket, half-back region. 55-54. West Coast beaten twice this year at home. Southern to Cox. Curley provides the short one. He's going to get him. Cousins on the mark. Wira's deep if Curley wants him. Cox is at right angles. He goes into Smith, who had a huge first quarter in this very spot. Runs away, kicks it superbly to Montgomery, but Ball was good enough. Back from Donnelly to Ball. Ball quick to the pocket, high. Hard ball to get hold of. Reed and also Garlick. Garlick runs it over. Boundary throw in, 55 metres from West Coast goal.
That's the critical turnover, isn't it, in the midfield there. Ball just got his hand to the ball. It was on its way to Montgomery, and then it heads back in the other direction towards the West Coast Eagles goal.
Scotty Wine down for Cameron, chipping in his Kemp. Hand pass, chopped off by Curley. Gets it to Cox. A free kick may go to Curley. Is it? Perhaps a little bit further back than that. Yes, it is going to Curley. He's being asked to go all the way back and take the free kick across the full-back line. He's only about 5, maybe 4 metres from the goal square. So still in the danger zone. Amazingly, just 2 behinds kicked in the early part of this third quarter. 8 goals to the Bulldogs in the first quarter, 8 goals to the West Coast in the second quarter. Mickey Martin running away from Fuster. He's going to get caught. Got his kick away, but he's been penalised for having run too far. So the advantage is with the West Coast Eagles, not quite up to centre-half forward proper. And you can see there the reason behind this free kick being awarded to Chris Lewis, and the umpire being perhaps a little pedantic, holding the ball up and asking Chris Lewis to do it all over again.
And after looking so confident and so positive in the first quarter, the West Coast Eagles, now they're starting to look a little bit tentative.
Bulldogs.
And the Bulldogs are just second-guessing themselves.
Lewis goes short and finds Jakovic. Jakovic there's no one in the absolute forward half of Footscray. Have a look at that. Look at that empty gap all the way down the ground as Jakovic has got the football. He goes out wide and finds Peter Matera. I'll tell you what, if they got the ball...
I just counted 15 Bulldogs in the defensive 50 then.
Well, that short kick has been marked by Jason Ball. And there's only one player from one end of the square where the ball is now, where Jason Ball's got the football. You can see now, look at that. Amazingly.
Well, one way to get around, there's been a lot of talk about the flooding of defences. One way to get around it is actually to kick it to somebody who can kick over the top of everybody. And I guess that's what the West Coast Eagles have been able to do here. They've got the ball now in Jason Ball's hands. He certainly can kick from beyond 50.
Well, this was perhaps the kick that Chris Grant had right on half-time. And Ball has done basically the same, although he's kicked it out on the full. So the free kick will be taken back there for the Bulldogs by Scotty West.
I'd say Ball's up, I think.
Scotty West, 18 possessions, and yet you would think that he probably hasn't had such a great game. He's kicking towards centre-half back. That mark has been paid to Luke Darcy. And if he can move it on quickly and they could get a loose man somewhere, they could nearly go all the way down the ground. The kick went wide. It's been marked out there by Cox.
Cox wants Ramiro out wide. He's got it. It's a good mark. He ran hard, Ramiro, to present himself. He needs a big second half. He set it up early for the Dogs with a fair bit of help from all his friends. Kicks the ball to about 70 metres. Metropolis, good, strong mark, front spot. Showed a lot of courage here. He's had a good match. I know that I've caught him Banfield a couple of times with the long flowing locks, but he's been good. Matera to Cousins. Left foot kick, Gehrig, free kick. Southern wrapped himself around him. Gehrig's going to get it. West Coast has started a bit better in the second half, haven't they, than the Doggies? There's no change on the scoreboard, basically, but just been in the West Coast half a fair bit more than in the Western Bulldogs half here. Gehrig at about 70 metres. Gets onto it, kicks it almost to the goal square. Ball sets himself, can't quite. Morrison at the back. It's going to be a boundary throw in. Right forward pocket. 55 to 54. Adrian Barrage.
Bruce, it's like a piano accordion this game. Everyone concertina's up and then back. It's incredible.
The game's changing, isn't it? Lewis, Simmons has got it. Simmons gets the first goal of the second half. First goal to the left-hand end for the night. Thanks, Robbo. 9-7 to 8-6. They've got a 7-point lead.
Well, good play there by Chris Lewis. Just manufacturing something out of nothing. just knocked the ball back to space. Watch this. Scotty White almost grabbed hold of the ball, that ruck duel. Lewis just taps the ball cleverly back to some space, perhaps heard the call there from Simmons. Good finishing.
Well, Paul Simmons has kicked the first goal to the left-hand end in this match. 8 goals in the first quarter to the Bulldogs to the right-hand end, 8 goals to the Eagles in the second term, and so far the only goal to that left-hand end kicked by Paul Simmons, and they may get a second one within a minute. Mitchell White slams it onto his left boot and slams it through for a behind.
Well, he's probably still a bit tentative on his right foot there too, on his right leg. He actually kicked with his left, but he had to put all his weight then onto his right leg. That's the knee he had reconstructed.
Well, the kick in has been taken by Cameron. Gee, they might have made a blue here. They're going to force it forward. Donnelly for Chris Lewis. Lewis missed it, attempted hack out of there. Sir to Curley. Curley confidently handballs it inside to Johnson, but Simmons met that player. Attacking it was Cousins, then Banfield back to Simmons. They've got a chance here. Morrison's on the end of it. In goes Morrison for his 4th goal of the game, and he's got it. No, he hasn't. It's hit the post. Oh. 3 goals, 2 to Chad Morrison. The Eagles fans down behind that goal in unison went to their feet. 9-9 plays 8-6. So a 9-point advantage now for the West Coast Eagles. Martin from behind went for the mark, then gathered the footy, confronted there by Waterman. Ball over for a boundary throw-in. Libber and Dent.
Well, Robbo, we said they looked so sharp in the first quarter. Do we say they look blunt now?
They do look a little flat.
Scored 2 points since then. Team in a quarter and a half of footy. This is the top team in the competition, who was second, only behind Sydney on points for going into this match, and they've scored just 2 behinds after kicking 8 goals in the opening term.
They've smothered Ramiro. He had 10 possessions in the first quarter. He's had 15 so far in the game.
Banfield back to Curley, but it's still a 1-goal ball game to centre wing. Montgomery, Metropolis good. Reed did it well. It's all happening for West Coast. Robley kicked the centre half forward. Morrison was very good. He was sensational. Magnificent. Oh, that's a lifter. Chad Morrison gives it to Mitchell White. We'll kick the last 10 goals of the match, West Coast.
That's domination, isn't it? And they're starting to win the ball around the packs again as we see Reed fire the ball forward. The Bulldogs had that domination around the packs. The Eagles have taken control there. All the momentum's now going their way. Plus the fact they're getting in there, winning the hard ball. And Morrison very happy with that effort.
Well, now you question, where can the Bulldogs lift? They certainly need their captain at the centre bounce. And he gets his right hand to it, down to Garlick. Garlick towards half forward. Nearly gathered by Montgomery. Playing maybe for the free kick there. The ball spills back to Grant, out wide. Martin to West, back to Martin. McKenna there for the Eagles, just to put a little bit of pressure on.
What about that pressure there by Braun, Robbo? Terrific tackle there on West. Braun's been very good. We see young Powell just loosening up there on the boundary line. We saw him play a terrific game here, his first game in his AFL career against the Eagles last year. Played on Peter Matera, did a pretty good job too.
McKenna.
That would have been, sorry, Robert, that passage you played a moment ago would have been a goal in the opening term. They just would, that's how they were scoring, weren't they?
Well, the desperate tackle on Scotty West. West was just about to break away, but grabbed by the jumper and forced that errant hand pass back to Martin. This is Grant. Short kick into the pocket, all right. And the mark taken by Smith. So the Bulldogs to break a sequence of 10 consecutive goals kicked by the Eagles after the Bulldogs kicked the first 8 of the game.
Got a great percentage position here. Rowan Smith been playing down back. Now they've sent him forward.
Just opens up the angle and then kicks into the man on the mark. Ball spills back towards the middle. Hudson tries to get the hand pass wide, only as far as Jakovic. He confidently steps around, kicks it out wide in the direction there of Jason Ball, And I think he was hoping, Jason Ball, that the ball would spill over, and it does.
Look at Reid just taking off. He started in the back pocket. He's picking up Johnson. He just took off just to run Johnson up the ground. That's what the Bulldogs were doing to the Eagles early in this game.
Scotty Wine down in front. Jakovic not able to gather the ball. So the umpire will bounce. 15 points is the advantage in favour of the Eagles with 9 minutes left in this third quarter. And they've certainly been, well, meritorious, you'd have to say, after their dreadful first quarter. Kick forward. Darcy, McIntosh keeps his feet and then kicks with the right, back towards centre wing. Mark from behind the ball. He's been a terrific player. Matera completely around Mark, kicks to half forward. Gehrig and Southern. Gehrig playing for the free kick. The Bulldogs may go back down the ground, gathered by Croft to Southern. Southern under pressure, goes across the full-back line, and that's nearly a mark there to Cox. Johnson, he's got to gather this. He just gets his kick away. It'll go close to the line. Kemp back there for the Eagles. Tries to get past Ramiro, succeeds in doing so. Goes in short and finds Reid, who's been terrific. He was completely outplayed in the first quarter, and he's come back well. Waterman into the pocket, and the mark is taken by Mitchell White. Well, they were pretty quiet in the first quarter, but they've had plenty to scream and shout about since quarter time, the Eagles fans.
And they've reversed the running pressure. It was Ramiro doing all the running early in the game. Now it's Kemp doing all the running. It's Ramiro doing all the chasing. And the same with West and Braun. And also Johnson, who's now chasing Reid, as we said a moment ago, all over the paddock.
Mitchell White for his second goal. He just lobs it into the square where it's helped over for a rush behind to the West Coast Eagles.
And I guess Terry Wallace is getting concerned now about where he's going to get his goals from too. He's got Rowan Smith down there at the forward line all alone. He's got Collingwood there just preparing to come onto the ground. He's been a goal kicker for them this year. He's kicked 15 goals, 8 Collingwood. And that's what they'll need from him when he does re-enter.
So Cameron to himself, and then belted long to half-back, wanting Wine. Wine pushes forward. Banfield down to Waterman, to Donnelly. Handball over the top, good. Simmons to kick his second. It's raining goals now to the left. They've kicked the last 11 goals. Remarkable. 11-10 to 8-6. They're tearing away now from the Bulldogs.
Well, they've just taken complete control, have they, in general play. They're winning all the 50-50 contests. They're getting the numbers to the ball. And now the Western Bulldogs are going to have to answer the challenge.
So the last 11 goals in this match have been kicked by the Eagles. 11-10 to 8-6. Two solitary behinds. One in the second and one so far in the third for the Bulldogs. Collingwood gets a kick and gets it to Grant. Smith's at full forward. Grant measures, wants Hudson, he's got him. Hudson at 50.
Lucky not to get a 52 then, Banfield. He did knock the ball away after Hudson took control of it.
Last goal, 26 minutes into the first quarter for the Bulldogs. Hudson from 50 metres. He'll kick outside it. He kicked 2 first quarter goals. He's been the leading goal kicker at the club this season. It's just beyond his reach. It would take a really big kick. He might be capable. He's kicked it very well. It's floating there. It might be through. He might have got it. He has. Hudson gets his third, and the drought is broken. Suddenly the heavens have opened up and the Bulldogs are on the board again. It's 9-6 to 11-10.
Hudson just having a word there. I don't know whether it was about the fact that Banfield did knock the ball out of his hands, but that was a huge kick. I doubted it when he lined up that he was going to be able to kick the distance, but good work there right on the line by Chris Grant just to move Jakovic away from the touch.
Well, very good percentage play there by Paul Hudson. He's only had 6 kicks, but he's kicked 3 goals. And the Bulldogs to go forward from the centre bounce. Scotty West towards full forward. Goes past Rowan Smith, able to gather. Hudson, can he give a goal away? Well done, good combination. West just spilt the ball after receiving from Powell, and a very, very good opportunity there for a goal for the Bullies. Just coming to nothing. It really looked as though Scotty West was going to lap that up. Bang, and spilt the ball.
Just took his eye off, didn't he? Just for that split second.
Maybe had the goal on against his name before he'd even gathered the ball. The bounce right in front of the goal square. 76, the West Coast Eagles, to 60 for the Bulldogs. Chris Grant trying to just scrounge a goal, but instead a rush behind to his team. So 15 points now the margin, but at least they've stopped that succession of goals. The West Coast 11 goals, and then the last goal kicked by Paul Hudson to break that sequence. This is Metropolis. 6 minutes left in the third term. Daniel Metropolis from the full-back area.
Wants Jakovic, Montgomery to go. Jakovic on his chest. At half-back, Montgomery just mistimed it all. Short to Braun. When you think of the misses in this quarter for the Doggies, Rowan Smith, Chris Grant, Scott West a moment ago, three of their best players. Waterman to Ball, back inside. Montgomery cut it off to Wine. It's an important couple of minutes here. Kicked by Powell, Garlick and Kemp. Ramiro's got hold of it. The Doggies are coming back. West inside to Johnson, can go all the way. He's very quick. He's a good finisher. He's going to kick a goal. It's there. It's another one now. They're coming back. This game is coming alive again.
Gives Simon Garlick a fantastic pat on the back. His contest down here really sorted it out for Ramiro.
It was a poor handball though at half forward for the West Coast Eagles. It was just a blind handball, and that's where the turnover occurred. And then the Bulldogs had the numbers on the way back. They also had the space with which to operate in. Good protection of the ball carrier there too. Good finishing.
Well, don't worry about this. This is far from over, this match. 9 points is the advantage for the West Coast, but these centre breaks all important. West gets it back to Montgomery. Montgomery across his left shoulder. Really a mongrel punt kick towards full forward. Very well played by Rowan Smith. The little kick into the pocket. Tried to kick it for the advantage of Hudson. It'll bounce end on end and over for a boundary throw in front of Daniel Metropolis and Adrian Barrage to bring us up to date.
What a game. Matthew Croft is off injured and Luke Darcy's been removed, so they've gone shorter, the Bullies, but the two guys who are going like German bands early they're on the bench.
So the boundary throw in the right forward pocket. The Bulldogs a chance. Scotty Wine, no one there. Yes, there is. Paul Hudson dancing like Fred Astaire. Gets his 4th goal. 4 goals to Hudson. And it's back to a 3-point ball game here at the Wacker. Well, who's going to win? Hey, you'd be a game man, wouldn't you, eh, to tip from here?
It'll be a draw, Robbo.
Well, it's been a terrific clash.
And the Western Bulldogs trying to get Garlick on the Braun and away from West. West is trying to pick up Banfield.
27 goals for the season for Hudson. First time he's kicked more than 3 in a match this year, but he has been terrifically consistent, and that was a wonderful finish. Garlick in port, and a free kick to the Doggies.
Lucky.
They were lucky. Well, they kicked the first 8. West Coast kicked the next 11. The Doggies have kicked the last 3. Garlick to half forward, McKenna, strong mark. We're basically back to square one. We're where we were at the start of the match. An even money game of footy. Gardner on the ground at half-back. Kicks to centre wing. A hard ball to mark. Belted away by Cameron.
I'm just looking back down the field. Chris Grant actually hurt himself in that collision. He looked like he's corked his thigh. Just in the hands of the trainers a moment ago. He's just moving a little bit gingerly.
So's Rowan Smith too, at full forward in the same incident, I think, Tim. Wine. Banfield will keep an eye on both of those cousins. To Braun. Braun kicks to full forward. White gets to the front spot. Belted away by Cox. Trying to snare at Morrison. Comes back to White. White should kick a goal. He's missed terribly. It wasn't difficult in the end. He's missed a couple in this quarter. 1-3 to Mitchell White tonight. in his comeback game. And so there's been misses at both ends. It was a good build-up. White had plenty of time, and he's hooked it. Must have felt cramped and gave it a hook. And it's 11-11 to 11-7.
When you've been out of the game for a while, that's the thing you do miss, is the actual feel for the game. Well, he is getting his hands on the ball. His stats are very good.
Well, the kick in taken by Leon Cameron goes short, and Wirra was surrounded, but he had time to get the hand pass back to Cameron. Cameron is such a beautiful kick, and that's no exception. It really was pinpointed. Garlick, has he been paid the mark? No, play on. Well, maybe to the Bullies' advantage, because away goes Johnson. Johnson off his right foot, kicks towards half-forward. Grant from behind couldn't take it. Kicked away by Matera. And it wasn't Chris Grant, it might have been Hudson, was it, down there contesting that marking duel? There's Chris Grant on screen now. We're watching Chris Grant. He looks as though he's moving reasonably well. 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Metropolis's little kick is all right and finds Donnelly. 4 points, the West Coast lead. Close to three-quarter time. Donnelly for the Eagles. Just his second kick. Goes in short and finds Simmons. Simmons, who has been a goal kicker in this quarter, he's kicked 2. He's deep on the wing. Kicks it to within 50 metres. Ah, good mark by Gehrig. Second in line behind Danny Southern. A little too tall, put his long arm straight up in the air and has marked within scoring distance for the West Coast Eagles.
Well, it takes more marks than anyone else in the competition, Fraser Gehrig. A lot of them are uncontested. That's a good contested mark there. You just rely on your teammates in a situation like this. There had to be another player up over the top of Fraser Gehrig, but a couple of centimetres on Danny Southern.
He's kicked 2, and he hooks the kick across to the right. 2 goals, 1 to Gehrig in this match. So the advantage is 5 points in favour of West Coast. 2 minutes left in the third quarter. It's been a very, very interesting third term. The Eagles got away to a very healthy advantage. It was close to 3 goals. And the Bulldogs have fought back. Goals to Paul Hudson in this third term has certainly made this very, very interesting last 25, maybe 30 minutes of football. Scotty West dragged off the football. Over the top is Wine. And well done, Michael Braun, to lock it up for the Eagles about 75 metres from their goal.
22 points was the biggest margin the Eagles got in front at one stage in this term. So we're back to inside a goal. Deep into the term. Braun, a little chip to full forward. Gehrig's normally good in this situation. Goes back. Simmons will kick his third. He's got it. 3 third-quarter goals. It's been an amazing game of football, hasn't it? You could talk about this game for a week. There have been so many subtitles and subplots to this match.
Well, we had such an uneven first half, didn't we? With the Bulldogs dominating the first quarter and the opposite in the second quarter. And then this quarter's been so even in general play too. And that's just the benefit of having someone like a Fraser Gehrig with good foot speed to come out in front of Danny Southern there, give the ball off square.
Well, we have got time for either side to score in this third term. Big punch forward by the Eagles. Johnson's punch has been gathered by Braun. He's played a pretty good game. Reid has made a very good comeback, and it is a goal. Kicked by Philip Reid. So what was just a matter of 3 points a few moments ago, all of a sudden is 17 points now.
And what the benefit there of just a big hit forward, players working to it. It was Reid who worked there too, and Braun got the ball over to Reid. But great to see Reid coming back, because he had a fairly dirty early part of the game, matched up against Romero. Malthouse had a few words through the quarter time.
There's Philip Reid, number 36 for the West Coast Eagles, the goal kicker. The 13th for the West Coast Eagles. Just over a minute left. They lead by 17 points. Gardner, a revitalised player after spending a lot of time on the bench. Gehrig misses it. Southern pressured by Gehrig. His kick goes over for a boundary throw-in.
Mickey Malthouse. Gardner. Also Wine. Did the Doggies get a late one here? Michael Martin. The Bulldogs have been behind in 3 of their last 4 matches at three-quarter time and have been able to win. Ramiro's kick inside 50. Jakovic gets back. Jakovic measures it, doesn't get it to where he wants it. Ramiro inside to Powell, back to Jose. Ramiro short to Hudson, he's got him. It's a good kick, and he's found the best finisher in the team. He's kicked for Hudson. Wallace down on the bench. Yes, they trailed against Essendon, North and Richmond in rounds 6, 7 and 9 at three-quarter time and came over the top of them to win. The Bulldogs, the best finishing team in the competition. Can Hudson kick his 5th and close the gap here? A big kick, basically on the siren. Kicking from 45 metres out. He's kicked it beautifully. He's kicked his 5th goal. And the siren sounds. What a game we've had here. And again, it closes. It's 13-12 to 12-7. Hudson with 3 third-quarter goals to match the effort of Paul Simmons at the other end. So Mickey Malthouse, twice this year West Coast have led at three-quarter time and been run over. And Terry Wallace knows that 3 times this year the Doggies have come from behind and won in the last quarter. So 13-12 to 12-7. The margin back to 11 points.
And Mick having plenty to say to Glenn
West and Ramiro for something special. It's going to be a great finish.
Have a look at that. They've trailed 3 times in 4 weeks and won at three-quarter time. Could they do it again? They led by 8 at quarter time. It's been one of the most unusual games of football you'd ever witness. Martin, it deserves the grandstand finish that it might get. Kicks to 50. Hudson and McKenna. Hudson has been a star. Bluey's been a star for so long. The game's record holder at the club. 5 goals to Paul Hudson. 28 goals this season. He's now kicked 319 goals. Due between dad and son, they've kicked a few goals. Wine to Garlick has been good. Can he get the handball over the top? He's gone. Holding the footy. Jakovic got him. He was trying to get it to Brown, weaving his way through and couldn't quite get there. Jakovic, who started when the onslaught was on early in the forward line for West Coast. And the team has responded superbly, and he's played well at the back. Squaring it up to McKenna. He kicked an important goal in the second quarter when they looked down and out. Trouble. Jakovic, McKenna. They'll get away with it. Good shepherd by Simmons. McKenna through the centre. Lovely kick to White. He's got him. Beautiful setup. Gehrig short. White goes to Gehrig. He's onto him. Doesn't mark him. Really should have. Southern. A reprieve. A let off. Takes forever. So the boundary throw-in. It is. Have a look at the crowd. They are standing and into it.
And all caused by just a little misunderstanding by Simon Garlick. His awareness up the other end of the ground.
Gehrig should have swallowed that one, shouldn't he?
Well, Danny Southern was a little lucky that he got away with that. There a chance here through Cameron. His kick will land back towards the centre of the ground. It's been gathered by Gardner. Handball to McKenna. McKenna forward of centre. Kicks towards the half-forward area. And a good diving mark to Mitchell White.
He's been impressive, hasn't he, tonight? He hasn't kicked well. He went off the ground for a while. We thought that he may not reappear. And on this occasion, McKenna just had so much time in the midfield to spot that kick.
He's like a quarterback, wasn't he? The last couple of times he's gone forward and found White.
Well, this player has been an All-Australian and suffered that bad knee injury. It's great to see him back playing AFL footy.
This will test him, his kick. He hasn't kicked well tonight.
No, he's kicked 1 goal 3. The player on the mark is about 45 metres from goal. Mitchell White just off to the right. Never really threatened the goal face. 1 goal 4 to that player on screen. 2 goals the margin.
Well, he's coming back from a knee reconstruction to that right knee, but he probably just doesn't have the same power yet back in his leg.
Cox kicks in, looks for Montgomery, jumped too early, that's a free kick. against Brett Montgomery to Matera. And I don't think Terry Wallace would be too happy with that. Looking down in front here, he's just off to the left of us, the Bulldogs coach. But when they're striving to get the ball down to their scoring area, a crucial free kick like that to Peter Matera, unwanted as far as the coaching staff is concerned. 2 goals, the West Coast lead. Matera goes in short, and it works because the mark is taken by Gehrig. Now those tall fellas, they never get any shorter as the game wears on. He's about 6'5" in the old Fraser Gehrig.
He's also got a bit of pace too, Robbo. And on that occasion, it was good play there by Morrison, who just protected him. Just held Curley away from the contest. It was a good kick by Matera too.
Well, he's kicked 2, Fraser Gehrig, and certainly will get the distance. But that left foot, and he stabs at it, kicks across the pocket, and Cousins has got it. Was that a mark? Now he's gone over the boundary line, so it'll be a boundary throw-in. A little bit of misunderstanding there between Lewis and Cousins, I feel, as Brown goes off and Croft is back into the fray for the Bulldogs.
They could have put the Bulldogs away here, West Coast. Gehrig's missed a couple. White's missed 3 or 4. Lewis has got hold of it. It was good, Lewis, in the second quarter. Back over his shoulder, touch. Well done, Southern. It was going through. So the points keep opening up for West Coast, but they're keeping the Doggies in this. Ramiro on hands and knees. 13-14 to 12-7. Just 1 goal could really change this match. The Bulldogs could get the next. Montgomery, that's better. At least he timed his run. Gardner back turns. Handball out. Cousins back. Very good. Metropolis squares it to Banfield. Takes his man on. Goes out wide. Going for goal. Braun hits the post. Free kick, I think, coming back to Braun. High tackle. So he's going to get a shot here against the Doggies. Now, I don't think the score's going to stand. We'll take it off, I'm pretty sure. Just need some clarification there. No score, so Braun to take the shot from about 45 metres. 13-14 to 12-7 the score. Well, they need a goal here. It sounds ridiculous because they're on top, I know, but they've had so many chances, the Eagles, to put a big break on the Doggies, and it's been a match where teams have been able to rebound very, very strongly. Braun high, close, he's missed. It's a behind, 3 behinds to Braun. And I haven't been keeping a total, but you'd reckon West Coast has kicked about 7 behinds to 1 goal in its last 8 scoring shots. 93 to 79.
And Cox has a couple of times has tried the big bombing kick. He tries it once again. Simmons, Scotty Wine down the line looking for Croft, who's moving just a little gingerly. Matthew Croft, and number 31, well done. He's getting his first run. Mark Elvey, just a teenager, coming onto the ground in the last 16 minutes. Scotty Wine to knock it forward. Ramiro, Elvey into it. Ramiro, just an important little left foot kick forward. There are a chance the Bulldogs here to gather. No, they're not. It's chopped off by McKenna, and the Eagles will go down the ground. Braun's kick is a beauty to the face of Mitchell White. Sure ball handling. His kick in towards full forward. Lewis pushed away from it, and the mark is paid to Sadat Sir. Just a little bit of intensity out here. Good mark to Reed from behind Johnson. Reed with the football. He's in his forward 50-metre zone. He's been called to play on and kicks high. Wobbly punt kick. Curley misses it altogether. Gehrig snapped the goal. Delighted Fraser Gehrig. 3 goals to Gehrig, and that's the goal the Eagles were looking for in the early part of the 3rd quarter. They're 14th.
Just watch this again. The Bulldogs really, they had to hit something. Curley missed everything, and Fraser Gehrig probably had to be that close to kick a goal because his kicking has been atrocious. And now the Western Bulldogs certainly have got the job ahead of them. They've got to win the ball out of the centre.
Poor defensive play at the back by the Doggies. Curley missing the lot. Gehrig gets his third. West Coast lead by 20 points. Banfield, Scott West, Ramiro. They need both those players to have huge last 10 minutes. Southern's gone forward. Almost took a strong march. In fact, there's been paid to Southern at 50 metres. The Trottlers can't believe it. What's it been paid for?
Must be a free kick too high, is it?
He's paid the mark. Something's gone to centre-half forward, and Croft has gone into defence to pick up Fraser Gehrig.
But he paid the mark, the ball hit the ground.
Bemusing. Danny Southern.
He's kicked 10 goals, 6 this year, so he spent a fair bit of time in the forward line.
Kicked 3 goals in the opening match of the season. He's going to kick from 55. It's a good kick. It's a fantastic kick. It's a goal. They're still in it. Doggies not out of this. They can keep going forward and converting. They're right in this. It's 14-15 to 13-7.
And once again, it was West out of the centre. Just a deft little handball. He really has got terrific hands, Scotty West. As soon as he's tackled, he just releases the ball, but he always seems to know where his teammates are. You see Braun limping from the ground. And he's been replaced by Johnny Worsfold.
Well, the goal kicked by Danny Southern, and we've seen Braun leave the ground. He's been pretty good, Michael Braun. 21 possessions. Very important centre breaks. Cousins shrugs the Ramiro tackle. Mark is taken by Croft. Gets the hand pass away to Cameron. Interception by Lewis. Chris Lewis. We've come to expect something spectacular. He's kicked to the goal front. Mitchell White gathered by Johnson. Can he succeed in running away? Brad Johnson. Run too far. Rubbish.
Too far, Robbo.
Was it?
He took off from the top of the 10-metre square.
Oh, I don't believe
He really
it.
just yeah, he's nearly on the top of the 10-metre square. He's almost run to, well, at least halfway to the 50-metre line. So you'd have to say that he's covered a good 25 metres.
Well, Brad Johnson obviously looking a little excited as he tried to stride away from the full-back line. That's Michael Braun. Looks as though he's got a bit of an injury to his right leg. Maybe a tightening of the hamstrings. The free kick to be taken by Mitchell White. They lead by 14 points, the Eagles. Mitchell White's kick is off to the right. 1 goal, 5, and we've been informed that he took far too many steps. 21 is too many. Barra.
Braun, after a great job on Scott West, has a hamstring strain, but going by Mitchell White, who's got a hamstring strain as well, that probably doesn't mean much, but he is struggling at the moment.
It's kicked to 1-5, I think, White. 100 to 85. Cox belts it out wide, gets distance, wants Wine, ball with him. Scott West underneath it, goes to the boundary line. Lewis keeps it in play. It's been pretty good, Lewis. Kicks to the pocket. White and Cox. Boundary throw in left forward pocket. 15-point margin. Now Worsfold's on his own. If they can get the ball from this boundary throw in, though. Johnson goes back to mind him in the square. Wind with him, Donnelly. Trying to break through was Curley. Lewis caught in the tackle by Sir. And it'll be a bounce about 35 metres out. West Coast attacking. Still plenty of time. It's been a remarkable game of football. An amazing first half and a real battle in the second. Wine squares it to Cameron. You'd have to be quick. Finds Curley. Curley with a bounce. They've got to take some chances, the Doggies. Curley squares the kick, wants Martin. Martin Matera. Matera wins it beautifully. Tries to draw the man. Kicks the ball high. Gehrig's his target. He's outnumbered. With one arm, he keeps it going for them. Morrison's little left footer. White's got it. Surely he'll kick a goal. He's at the post. He's kicked 1 goal, 6. Unbelievable. Well, and look at Gimme. They worked it forward. Gehrig was good. Morrison was good. White, who was on the end. In fact, when you think about the goal that White kicked tonight, it was the one from 1 metre out when Morrison kicked the ball off the ground and he hit the post. And still the Doggies breathe. They're still alive.
Well, thanks to Mitchell White. He's played a very good game. He's had 16 kicks, 3 hand passes, 9 marks. The kick in. Worsfold, great mark, and the cheers from the Eagles fans. He's a popular man, Johnny Worsfold. 201 games now. Well, he had his name written all over that. It looked as though the kick-in was really meant for Worsfold.
Look at the crowd rise, Robbo. They just jump as one, don't they?
Well, the popular captain, he's kicked to the front of the goal square. Up high was Gehrig. Banfield will put a nail in the Bulldog coffin. Banfield's first goal. And that makes the margin a very, very difficult one now. 22 points in favour of the Eagles.
And Peter Matera going down there to his skipper, Johnny Worsfold, just giving him a pat on the back. He's sent the ball forward after taking that terrific mark. Banfield just getting there as a crummer at the fall of the ball. They had plenty of numbers there, the West Coast Eagles.
We're back to that big margin of 22 points. It's been the highest margin in the match so far from West Coast point of view. Remember that the Doggers led by 48. Donnelly's got it. It's all happening for the Eagles now. They look irresistible. Kicks the ball to Mitchell White. Brings the ball forward. Curley. There's a hip and shoulder. He rode it pretty well. Fantastic smother by Worsfold. Since quarter time, the Eagles have kicked 15-13 to 5-3. 28 shots to 8. It does tell the tale. And they've worked themselves into what looks to be our winning position. Alvey gets his first kick. It's a beauty. He showed a bit of vision there, the kid, and found Montgomery, who had a great start, but he's been disappointing since. A couple of wayward leaps, gave away a free kick. Jakovic took a mark. That's a terrible kick to Cousins in the centre. Terrific match by Cousins. They've all lifted since quarter time. Worsfold wide. Simmons in front of him. 3 third-quarter goals for Simmons. Short to ball. Loose men now. Gehrig wanted it very short. Ball decides against it. Morrison's at full forward. He's going to lay long. Kick the ball in Morrison's direction. Coming in from the side, Waterman. Big fly. Kemp's onto it. Kemp's onto it. Beautiful. Wonderful play. Morrison's got it. Kemp set him up. Morrison's got 4. They're home. They'll win now. The Eagles have got it. What a win it's going to be.
Well, he's been signed for an extra 3 years, which I suppose was a good move by the West Coast Eagles. He's a very good coach, Michael Malthouse. He wasn't panicking at quarter time, Tim.
Well, he's been terrific. Kemp had to play a defensive role, and Ramiro has done that well.
So with 10 minutes left, the Eagles kicked their 16th goal since quarter time. Banfield to force it forward once again. Taken here by Cameron. Cameron's left foot kick is wide. Sitting there and gathering is Waterman. Down the line goes Chris Waterman and finds Lewis. So some space now for the Eagles. Lewis in short, not a bad kick. White at the fall of the ball. Wirra. Back to Ramiro. The Eagles fans thought that was a good enough attempt by Mitchell White to be paid. Waterman gathers the football across centre wing, kicks it in towards the middle of the ground. Jakovic out wider still to right half forward. Worsfold kicked away by Martin, overrun by McKenna. Hacked out of there by Martin. There's a chance here for the Bulldogs. If it sits for Chris Grant, it does, and he gets back around Glenn Jakovic and then kicks high and very long and accurately. It's a goal to the Bulldogs. 3 goals to Chris Grant. So they're not giving up without a fight. Brett Montgomery off the ground. Stephen Powell to take his place. The Bulldogs get their 14th goal.
Well, Terry Wallace there would have been pretty happy at quarter time. It's been one-way traffic ever since, though. And Chris Grant, he's had a pretty good battle with Glenn Jakovic since Jakovic was shifted back down into defence. Just turns him inside out on that occasion.
3 goals to Grant, 14-7 to 16-17. Just under 10 minutes remaining. Cousins Simmons forcing forward. Martin was good a moment ago. That one off the ground, not so effective, but at least it finds the boundary line. Adrian Barrage on the boundary.
Bruce, the skipper's off for the Bullies. Scotty Wine's off, and Luke Darcy on into the ruck.
Tony Librasore, we saw a moment ago, 200-game veteran, Brownlow medalist, who's out with a knee reconstruction. West held up Waterman, that was good play. Waterman trying to get it out. Alvey, tackle by Simmons was good. It'll be a ball up. Gee, what a quarter to bring a kid into footy. Alvey, the 17-year-old, he's had one beautiful touch when he kicked the ball to Montgomery in the centre. There he is, came in for Craig Ellis tonight. Ellis and Schofield both withdrew before the match. Ball gets his hand to it, goes forward. Alvey tries to kick the ball, then gets it out towards Ramiro and Garlick, and again it's going to be a bounce. So awesome bit of play going on in there. Umpire coming up to sort it out. Players lift themselves, and it's going to be a bounce.
A few players around this bounce too. 22 points is the advantage with the West Coast Eagles. There's about 14 or 15 players around the bounce. Knocked away by Darcy, Kemp, and eventually over for a throw-in. 8.5 minutes left. Dean Kemp on Ramiro. Ramiro, terrific first term. He had 10 possessions. He's had 22 for the match. Kicked a goal. Philip Reid taken out of the game early. Fought back. Darcy, well done. Takes it out of the boundary throw-in. Kicks it in the direction of Grant. Hudson leaves it behind. Garlick, now it spills for Grant. Handball to Wirra. They've still got a chance. Wirra's kicked towards full forward. At the feet there of Johnson. Ramiro diving after the football. It's held up there for the West Coast Eagles by Metropolis. And Ramiro being dealt with by Chris Lewis. Umpire in complete control, Chris Mitchell. And he will bounce about 30 metres from the Bulldog goal. 22 points is the margin. You'd think if they're going to snatch it, they'd have to kick a quick goal. McKenna kicks it away. And Worsfold has taken the mark. He's at left half back, Johnny Worsfold. His kick is very good off the left foot. In the face of Gehrig. 7.5 minutes left. Gehrig, 3 goals against his name. Mitchell White couldn't gather it. Scotty West for the Western Bulldogs. Kicks across the half-back line. Gathered here by Grant. Grant towards half-forward. Over the top there of Paul Hudson. He can't get back quick enough. Jakovic is there for the Eagles. The handball over the top of Ball. Hudson tries to make a contest, but McKenna is there. And very steady, ball goes over. When maybe there was nothing to kick to, there was a player down here. Further down the field was Chris Grant, who had the area all to himself. So Ball maybe playing the percentages wasn't such a bad move after all. West Coast by 22 points with 7 minutes left.
McKenna's made a beautiful last quarter on Hudson, who've kicked 5 goals to three-quarter time. Jakovic, West, still the Doggies. Martin trying to get it over the top. Shrugs a tackle, gets it to Powell. Fresh legs, centering kick, pretty good, beautiful mark. Pay, yes, good strong hands in the front by Johnson. They won't lie down, this team. He's got to kick the goal here. It will tighten it up again. Chris Grant's goal a moment ago, or I say a moment ago, probably 3 minutes ago now, gave the Doggies a sniff. And Kud Johnson, who missed a goal on the run in the second quarter, but he tightened it. 35 metres out, gets close. He might have missed it. Has he got it? He's missed. Well, he looked to rush it a bit. He looked to get a bit close to the man on the mark. And that is really going to hurt. 16-17 to 14-8. It was a must goal. Had to be kicked. McIntosh belts it long. Grant launches himself and takes it. He's lifted in the last few minutes. He's got Southern out wide. Now he can kick a long goal. We saw him kick a goal in this quarter from further out than this.
Tried to pinch half a metre then too.
Marks the spot, then marks it again where he's going to take his kick from, and goes back.
The point is, Bruce, when Brad Johnson hurried, I think he was aware they need 4 goals in 6.5 minutes. The same situation for Danny Southern. They can't waste any time. because the seconds are precious for the Bulldogs.
Kicks from 52. It's strong. It looks good. It's a great kick. Another one. That's a fantastic goal, just like his other one. Well, surely they couldn't, could they? 16-17 to 15-8.
Well, it's been a game of football. I mean, it's even the first two quarters, which were completely contrasting.
Well, they keep pressing the Bulldogs. Here's we see a clearing mark by Grant just to set up. He went wide to the space where Southern was. Jakovic now picking up Southern.
Well, just a magnificent long kick there by Danny Southern for his second goal to give the Bulldogs a little sniff. They need 3 goals in the 6 minutes remaining, but more importantly, they've just got to hold the Eagles goalless in that period. Matera probably didn't have the football. Scotty West, well done, found some space for himself and then puts the Eagles' defence under pressure. Metropolis punched away, but he's up to it. He goes after it again and forces a boundary throw in. But it's certainly in the Bulldogs scoring zone, about 35 to 40 metres around from their goal. Scotty West was terrific here in this clearance from the centre bounce. It's about 40 metres from the Bulldogs' goal. Up over the top was Jason Ball. And he stumped it over for another throw in. Adrian Barrage.
Robbo, as expected, Michael Braun's hamstring has fixed itself and he's about to go back on.
So Braun, who's been good to come on late. The Doggies are pressing hard here. Not done with yet, it seems. Garlick tries to force through. Was Waterman high there on Martin. It'll be a ball up. 45 metres from goal. It's been an epic, this one. 16-17 to 15-8. Ball. Kemp still. Handball was good. Worsfold's had an important 10 minutes. Gets it to Simmons. Simmons away. Meshes it beautifully to Donnelly. One goal would surely put it beyond reach. Would bury the Doggies. Simmons. Bad handball. Cut off by Sir. Simmons good enough to win it back. To Donnelly, to Worsfold, will kick it to White, out very wide, Lewis onto it, with him Powell, White, Grant coming in, it's held up, it'll be a ball up, but it's down the West Coast end, and that's very important late in this match. They lead 16-17 to 15-8. Terry Wallace, those nails will be bitten off, wouldn't they? If you've just joined us, the Doggies kicked the first 8 goals, the Eagles got the next 11. An extraordinary match here at the Wacker.
4.5 minutes left. McIntosh to put the Bulldogs' defence under pressure. Ramiro out wide. Lewis is there for the Eagles. Nearly run down by Garlick. Left foot kick by Lewis. In towards centre-half back. Donnelly tries to knock it clear, but only for Ramiro. Cameron over the top. Rowan Smith. He's got to go down the ground. Take a little bit of a punt, and he does. He shrugged the tackle. West. Oh, the umpiring there in favour of the Bulldogs. Cameron in support. Left foot kick by Leon Cameron. It'll go over the players in that area and hurried through by Peter Matera for a rush behind to the Bulldogs. Well, some umpiring there on Rowan Smith. He was maybe very lucky to get away with that. His second attempt was an effective hand pass. The kick-in has been marked by McKenna. 3 3/4 minutes left. A 14-point advantage for the Eagles. Goes across the full-back line, and the mark is taken by Metropolis.
Got a man up here, the Dogs, don't they, Tim? They've got a man up. They'll try and run the clock down here.
9 marks to Metropolis. The kick intended there for Peter Matera. Just out of his grasp. Daniel Metropolis frustrated. The boundary umpire will throw it in. It's only a matter of about 20 metres from the Western Bulldogs' goal.
Darcy and Ball. Darcy did it pretty well. Left foot, couldn't quite get it past Ball. McKenna runs it out of play, as you'd expect. He's had a huge last term as Bluey. Boundary throw-in. Hudson wanting deliberate. Have to get a goal in the next 20 seconds, you'd think. Montgomery coming on. Boundary throw-in again. Matera well played. Gets it out wide. Wester's had a good last term and a great first quarter and a boundary throw-in. Matera, plenty of possessions. Adrian Barrage.
Bruce, Michael Braun's gone straight back onto Scotty West. He got him early, and now he's going to try to get him in these last dying moments.
West has had plenty of it late in the game. 16 and 14. 30 possessions. Here is Braun, and he's won it. And runs his full measure and kicks the full forward to White. Well done by Smith. Smith the runaway. He stretches the opposition to Cameron. It's deja vu to Ramiro. Ramiro measures, goes to full forward. Could Southern take a big one? He pushes them all over. McKenna, Montgomery, and Worsfold concedes. Happily. There's Jakovic. Gee, I hope he's all right. Looks low down, doesn't it? Looks ankle rather than knee. Picks himself up and hobbles away. So the Bulldogs, to their credit, have kept coming. 15-10 to 16-17. McKenna wide. Oh, close. Out on the full. Well, we saw Metropolis kick it out. McKenna's kicked it out on the full. Short in. Gadalby take it. Build it away. Back to Garlick. Garlick can't quite get it. Kemp's got him. They want him. They want holding the ball. They're going to get it. Well, I don't know what chance Garlick had to get rid of it. But Kemp's got it in the back pocket.
Dean Kemp looking to play on. Kicks towards centre wing. Marcus taken by Croft. He plays on quickly. Chance now for Montgomery. His kick has been nearly marked. No, not by Hudson. Over the top, McKenna. Hand pass wide, Banfield. Now Worsfold. He's had a couple of important possessions late in this game. Wide to Donnelly. 2 minutes left. And the Bulldogs, well, Simmons has dropped the football. And Jakovic off the ground with a left ankle. Jumping high, landing a little awkwardly. The ball is on centre wing, and it looks as though it might be a free kick to the Eagles. The hand pass by Simmons over to Banfield. Banfield short, no mark. Lewis is there, gathered by Rowan Smith, eventually controlled by that player. Kicks across his left shoulder in the area of Montgomery. Well played there by Powell. Crashes his way through. Ball spills for Simmons. Over the top was Curley. Didn't have the football, Simmons, and he'll take the free kick. 13 points the Eagles lead. A classic game of football at the Wacker on Friday night, and a 50-metre penalty is being awarded there against Simon Garlick for not getting the ball back on the full to Paul Simmons. Throws the ball straight up in the air, nowhere near the player who had been awarded the free kick. So Simmons now close to 60 metres from goal. He kicked two very, very good goals in the third term for the West Coast. He's probably too far out to score. He goes short. Marcus taken out there by Worsfold. 1 minute left, so the Eagles content to keep possession of the footy. They lead this match by 13 points. And after confronting the scoreboard, showing the opposition 8 goals for to 4 behinds in the first quarter, their performance this evening has been very, very good. Matera has the footy. The time just ticking away. They'll be quite prepared to share it around. The captain with the football. Still too far out to score, but half a minute left. And again, they'll go back and keep it. Goes back to Gehrig. And he decides to put a ridiculous mark on the turf. Well, Mick Malthouse obviously checking the clock. The kick in towards the centre of the ground. Matera. He'll probably have the footy when the siren sounds, Peter Matera. Ticking down now. Kemp, Gehrig, McKenna. Matera goes long. And the mark will be taken down here by McIntosh. So all the heat out of the game. Kemp to kick to the goal square. And the siren signals the end of a classic game of football. The Eagles have won the battle, not necessarily the war. It was a terrific game by both sides. 8 goals to the Bulldogs in the first term, 8 goals to the Eagles in the second term to basically